Hey everyone, this is Gary A. Swaby from the Koalition.com, and you're now listening to our final discussion of Mass Effect Andromeda. We'll be talking spoilers, story, and everything you can think of. And I'm actually here with, a good old friend, a friend of the site who's been around, for years pretty much, Mr. Rameez Quadri. What's up, Rameez?
How's it going, man? How's it going?
It's going good, man. I'm excited for this, like, because
Yeah.
people been asking for this show, and like we're the only two people in our circle of friends that have like completed the game
Oh, really?
because it's so draining. Yeah,
Didn't Rich
yeah. I
complete
mean,
it?
Tony has, but
Oh,
Tony's busy at the moment.
okay. Fair enough. No, fair play. I only completed it like a couple of weeks ago now, I think. So, yeah, fresh out of that game. Should be interesting. Should be an interesting conversation. Been a long time coming as well. So, yeah, would be good to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely wanted to get this discussion done before the topic just goes cold because E3 is coming up soon. So like nobody's going to care about this anymore after that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
um,
Cool.
so yeah, let's start with the launch of the game. So when the game first came out, Mass Effect Andromeda, there was a lot of criticism going around about the animations and bugs and all that sort of thing. Now, what was your thoughts like going into the game with all of that in mind? All the animation stuff and the memes that were going around and stuff. Like, did you go into it thinking it was going to be bad at that point?
I kind of didn't want to pay attention to it that much, if I'm honest. Like, I tried to play the game and then pay no mind to like just that negative bit because I knew that would be just the big point that everyone is just going to keep mentioning, that how bad the animations were and stuff. And I thought, pay no mind to it, just play the game. You've been waiting not so many years, but a good couple of years for a new Mass Effect game to come out. But yeah, it kind of eventually did become really distracting. Like, the animation was really bad. There were really stale faces, and like, they failed to portray any emotion at all with the characters. So many glitches. And even still now, like, they've got the update done and everything. There were still a few bugs here and there, but yeah, it was pretty distracting, and it kind of did throw me off a little bit playing the game at first. But luckily, I played it later on from its release, and then about a week later, the update kicked in, and so I wasn't suffering too much from it. But I know that experience was from like the demos and the early releases and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty distracting. It was the bit especially with I forgot her name, one of the council people, and she's saying stuff like, "Sorry, I'm really tired," and her eyes are like wide awake, and she's just portraying no emotion whatsoever.
My face is tired. That's it.
My face is
My
tired.
face is.
Like, just blank face staring at you, just wide-eyed, and like no creases in her eyes or anything, just staring you in your soul or anything like that. It was pretty
I
funny.
don't even think she blinked at that point.
She didn't even blink. She had no eyebrows either. She had no eyelashes. Sorry. Um, and there was the bit as well when you're the new Pathfinder, and then they contact you, and then the Solarian's like, "Where's the Pathfinder? Your dad, your father. At this point, he's dead." And your character's like, "Yep, you're looking at her or him," and then they just look, and there's just this awkward silence, and they're like, "You're not Alec Ryder." And then like, "My father died." It was like no emotion again. It was just this robotic. "My father died." That's it. And yeah, another awkward silence, and then they just quickly moved on. There was no like, "I'm so sorry. It must be hard on you." No, just move on. It's like, we need to find planets. That's it. So
Yeah,
it was really weird at first.
yeah. There was some poor narrative in that game.
Definitely. But yeah, it was distracting. That's kind of what I got from it. The early release did kind of put a lot of people off, and a lot of articles you read, yeah, that was like the main focus. It just wouldn't let go. They just would not let go of that idea that that's going to be the game. But luckily they did patch it up.
Yeah. Now, those animations definitely were terrible and distracting, like you said. But I have to say, like during my first few hours of the game, like maybe first 2 to 3 hours or so, I was actually quite enjoying it. Like I was kind of putting aside all the animations and stuff because I was already aware of them. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know this is an issue already, but I was willing to just focus on, the story and everything that was being presented, and just play it and try to find some enjoyment out of it. And I quite enjoyed like the first few hours, like going to Habitat 7 or whatever it was, and then go. Well, the first time you go to the Nexus, that's when all the awkward stuff starts to happen, and you start to be like, that's a bit weird. But then, like when you go to Ios or Eos, whatever it is, the first planet, like I was starting to get excited again. Like, okay, this is cool. Like you actually get to do a bit of exploration. You got to go into the vault and stuff, and all that was cool at first. So like at that point in the game, the first few hours, was that how you were thinking? Like, okay, this isn't so bad. I can do this.
Yeah, I mean, I remember messaging you a lot about it when I was playing it. When I first landed on Habitat 7, for me, that was like the practice everything, because you have no idea what the hell you're doing planet.
Yeah.
And I remember just messaging you, and I was just like saying at one point, it was just like saying, this is really weird, I don't like it. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I started complaining about the menu, and that menu is atrocious as it is.
Yeah, it's convoluted.
And even before and after like the update as well. Before the update, it was just horrible. It froze on me all the time, and the background would be a different thing, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think I was similar to you. Habitat 7 was like my practice planet. By the time I got onto the Nexus, it was just awkward animations and interactions with the characters. But by the time I got to Eos, yeah, the exploration of it, the map, it's huge. The planet is absolutely huge, and you could just drive around in it. The view was pretty crazy to look at, the scenery. Yeah, it started picking up. I started thinking, okay, it's kind of got that Mass Effect 1 vibe again, and you're just kind of traveling, exploring again. Yeah, I kind of felt the same, but I'm gonna guess you felt the same as well. Gradually, you realized the scope of the game as it is took its toll eventually.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Other than that, though, I was pretty much similar to you. It's quite, when EOS came about and you just landed on that planet, you got to drive the Nomad. I can't remember if it's called the Nomad or
yeah, the Nomad.
The Nomad, yeah. You drive around that, and yeah, it was fun. It kind of gradually took its toll, but for now, for that moment, it was really cool, and it was starting to bring back Mass Effect vibes again, and you getting used to the controls this time. Character interactions were still a bit odd, but you kind of just, again, me and you, we were just like, we just want to focus on the game, play it, and we love Mass Effect as it is. We just wanted to see the good sides of it, hopefully. And I think landing on that planet and starting the exploration, that was part of the good stuff out of it.
And would you say that the action was really well done in terms of like the mechanics and everything, or do you still prefer the old Mass Effect style?
I'm quite split-minded about that, to be honest. I think it was good. Like the addition of jumping was fun, and like hovering and being able to shoot from the air, and the combos with your teammates is pretty cool. But I think personally, when you want to develop your character and you can choose to kind of which personality you wanted to be, like I knew straight away I wanted to be kind of like a biotic with some tech skills. And yeah, and that was it. I just stuck to that, and I built some skills up.
Sentinel class.
Sentinel class, that's the one. Yeah, I was gonna say adept, but I think that's the combat one. Well, I think. So yeah, I just chose Sentinel, and I knew the moves that I wanted to use, and there wasn't really a force of nature by the game to tell you to be like, oh, try out all these other moves that you can do. I was quite happy with having throw, one of the tech moves, a shockwave, and that was it. And I could make combos from that, and I could make combos with that with the other teammates, and it was so much more easier and simple. And there wasn't really much diverse things you could do with the moves. There wasn't really much of a care for experimenting with the moves or anything like that.
Yeah, I will say that system was kind of flawed because it presents it to you like it wants to give you a lot of choice and option. Like you can literally do like anything you want. You can unlock all these different moves and stuff. But like once you figure out like the basic three abilities that work for you, at that point like you kind of just stick to those, and like you don't feel the need to like expand and unlock any other abilities or try any other classes at that point. Like, because once you found your flow with the 2 or 3 attacks that work for you, like you can run through the whole game like that. Like there's never any need to switch that up.
Exactly.
So that was kind of an issue, like having all that choice and not really needing it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I was just gonna say, it's like you're building up points as well, and then they're just not going to anything really, other than the last 3 things that improve your health and improve your strength of biotics or tech or combat. Nothing really mattered. It's just like you're building up all these points, and you're not really going to spend it because you know what you want, you know who you're going to be, and that's it. You can't really mix it up, and no matter how much the game congratulates you on leveling up your sentinel level or adept and things like that, you're just kind of like, all right, whatever. You just know what you want to be, and you're just going for it. And the game doesn't really spur on like experimentation or tell you to try something new, and it wasn't very tactical, I don't think, as much as it tried to. It was just straight up action, which is kind of what they are after, but you feel like you kind of wanted more from it.
Yeah, I agree. It could have been a lot more intricate. And in terms of the comboing and stuff, the reason I didn't like it is because like we talked about this one time, like it was just completely random. Like it would say, oh, you did a tech combo or whatever, and like it's not like you even planned to do it. Like it just happened. And in the old games, you could actually plan that out, because you could tell your team members what attacks to use, and then you can combine them that way and stuff. But it didn't allow you to do that in this game. Like you couldn't even tell your teammates what moves to use and when or anything. They just kind of did their own thing.
Yeah, and I think that's sorry again. I think that's the like other issue with in the previous Mass Effect games. You had that wheel where you could hold the buttons to choose which power move you wanted to do, and also command your teammates to move somewhere or attack this person. It moved down to like the D-pad bit in Andromeda, and I think in other Mass Effect games as well, but it was a lot easier where you could just freeze time for the moment, choose your power wheel, understand what weapons you wanted, understand what powers you have, and add shortcuts that way, rather than having to press pause, go to skills, press X to like select your favorites, select a favorite, accidentally save over your favorite one with like weapon choice. I did that way too much. And things like that. It was like a lot more complicated way just to do something so simple. And as you said, like you couldn't really time it this time with your teammates to like attack at this moment and then you attack at the same time. You just happen to do it accidentally. In this case, like I always managed to get a fire combo, and I just never knew how until I realized Drac would always just throw a grenade, and then I accidentally like zapped him, and then it would just come up in the middle of your screen like fire combo. I'm like, all right, thanks, cheers, great move. And that was it.
Yeah, so I think it could have definitely been improved a lot, but like in terms of the actual action itself, it's definitely like the most what's the word, like intuitive and responsive, I guess. Like it's, you know, it's fluid. The action is more fluid in this game than it is in the others, but you know, it's just those various things could have made it a lot better if you were able to do it. um but yeah, before we get on to, you know, the story stuff, because I know we got a lot to say about the story, but um let's talk about where our main issues, you know, started to arise with this game. Now, for me, it was definitely, you know, after a certain point, because as I mentioned, those first few hours, I might even say like the first 10 hours or so was great. Like I was enjoying it and stuff. But then it gets to a point where I kind of hit a wall, and it was like this story isn't going anywhere interesting. And these characters aren't that interesting. Like I didn't really like any of the squad mates that much. Like, because in the previous games, even the squad mates that you didn't like, they were somewhat interesting. But like in
Yeah.
this game, I didn't like anyone, and they weren't interesting to me at all. So like, you know, I didn't like talking to anybody or anything, and like I kind of started to not care anymore about the characters, because like I found the writing to be quite poor for them, and they weren't interesting in any way. And then of course, you know, the abundance of side missions and side quests and tasks, and I've like that can be a good thing if it's presented well, like if all this side stuff actually means something and you're getting something meaningful out of doing them. But where they failed is like they just gave you like a bunch of like quests and tasks, and they were quite shallow. Like they didn't they didn't mean anything towards the story. Like and a lot of them were, you know, silly fetch quests, like, oh, you have to go here, get this, bring it back to this person, kind of thing. And there was, you know, there was no real reward or any kind of storytelling, or, you know, nothing of substance really. So after a certain point, it just got like, I really like, I got so much to do in this game. I got so many missions right now, and I just don't care anymore. Like, so yeah, I kind of struggled with, you know, the last like 20 hours or so with the game, because I kind of just stopped caring at that point, even though the first 10 hours were great. But then, you know, after a certain point, it was just like, it became a chore for me. Like, and I wanted to do the missions because I didn't want to miss anything that might be important or vital to the story, or anything that might reference the old games. But like at the same time, I just kind of stopped caring, because it was like, this writing is poor, and you know, I don't like the narrative, I don't like these characters anymore and stuff. So was it the same for you?
Yeah, pretty much. Literally, again, I remember messaging you, and then I had so many side missions, and it's weird because you had priority missions, then you had allies and relationship missions, then you had uh, missions by planets, I think it was something like that, and then you had tasks, and then completed missions. That was the menu, and the tasks is what pissed me off the most, if I'm honest. That
Yeah, those are horrible.
they're annoying because they just pop up. It's like you're just driving along, and then suddenly one of the characters in your cars is like, "Oh, something's happened over there," and then in the top right corner is like mission task, mission task, mission task. Like find these things for no reason. They're not going to be equivalent to your mission at all. I'm like, what's happening here? And yeah, the amount of side missions that just kept coming up and jumping up, it overcrowded the main storyline itself. Like somehow the side missions became more important than the actual game itself. And again, messaging you all the time, asking like, "Have you done this side mission?" You're like, "No." "Have you done this one?" "No." I'm just like, all right, well, I'm gonna try them and see what happens. And then I realized why you didn't do them, because they're freaking annoying. And especially when they're on hold as well. Like
Oh yeah.
you do a part of the mission, it's like on hold, discover some stuff, on hold, you just talk to this person, on hold. I'm like, it's just like, it kind of leaves you annoyed because you don't want to drag these missions out. You just want to get them over and done with, because your main focus is the main storyline. And most of these side missions, they don't even integrate with the main story itself. You benefit from nothing to get them. You you didn't do movie night mission, did you?
I did do it, but I didn't see like the conclusion of it. But like a lot of the tasks that were involved with it, I did do. So I don't know where I went wrong to where I didn't actually experience the movie night. But yeah, I did a lot of the build up quests for it and stuff.
I mean, the thing was that took the whole game to do it, and it shouldn't
Yeah.
have. It really shouldn't have. If they're gonna start something like movie night mission, they start it literally from the start of the game, where Liam's like, "Oh, let's get popcorn. No, let's download movie. Sorry." And then and you're like, "All right,
That's illegal, by the way.
that is illegal as well." Yeah, in the future, it's promoting illegal downloads of movies. Not even Netflix passwords or anything. You're just straight up jacking like a movie list from the Nexus. It's just download to a USB port or your SAM or anything like that. But yeah, it started right at the beginning, and you complete it right near the end, just before you start the main mission. If you want to complete it, that is. And that's just ridiculous. I think I just don't understand why. Like, okay, you first download the movie list, then someone says get popcorn. You get popcorn, and it's really hard to get popcorn because it's contraband, so you have to fight for getting popcorn, I think. Then you have to get drinks because someone wants these certain types of drinks. You get them. Then someone complains that the drink is not strong enough. You need to get this type of drink. You go to a planet, you can't find the drinks, but there's a note that says, "Oh, hey, come to this planet. I'm selling the drinks here." So you fly all the way to that planet, drive to the location, and then you get the drinks, and they're fine. And it just goes on and on and on. Like, people want these things, and it's a waste of time. It's just a waste of a huge amount of time. And a lot of the side missions were just basically that. It was just like, go to one planet, go to another planet, come back to the first planet that you went to, mission complete, whatever. And it was fine at first. Like I said, when you land on EOS, it's crazy. It's cool that there's such a vast amount of things you can see in there. But when those side missions start building up, and those tasks as well, that just confuse the hell out of you because they're just extra nonsense that doesn't help you at all, it takes its toll, and you just don't enjoy the game as much as you imagine you would anymore. And I think they overdid it with the side missions especially. And by the point where I got to complete a majority of them, like the main mission, I just kind of lost interest with anyways, because you kind of got what it was, and it kind of relates to, well, not relate, but it's kind of similar to the first and second Mass Effect game. But yeah, it just kind of killed the mood, really, to enjoy the main mission and to enjoy like the character interactions as well, because you realize how much of an idiot they are as well. As you said, you didn't care for them much. I didn't like a majority of them. I think in the previous Mass Effect games, I only disliked one character. All the other characters were actually fine, and you wanted to know them, and you wanted to variate your team members. In Mass Effect Andromeda, I just kind of stuck with the same 2-3 people maybe, and that was it. There was just I did not want to deal with anyone else in that game. So yeah, it took its toll. I think they overdid it a little bit, a tad too much, basically.
Yeah, way too much. Like I hate this whole model of game, because it was kind of similar in Dragon Age Inquisition, but I feel like that game handled it better than this one.
Yeah,
But
weirdly,
like it was just tons of missions, like to do and stuff.
yeah, weirdly, I got the same feeling. Like I was thinking about it as well, and eventually, I spoke to you as well about it, and saying this is literally just Dragon Age, but overdosing on the side missions and stuff. So yeah, I got the same feeling, but Dragon Age somehow handled it a lot better, or the missions kind of seemed a bit more in tune with your character's story, being the Inquisitor, sorry, and having to help people when they need it and killing people when they need it. and stuff like that. Whereas in this game, you're just doing all these missions for no reason. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Pathfinder.
like why is a Pathfinder solving murders? Like he's not a
Exactly.
detective.
That's what I
Like,
mean.
don't they have a police force or something? Like, where's CSEC or whatever? Like,
The Citadel, man. You need the Citadel in every spot. CSEC, get over here. It's like, no, you go to a planet that's run by like terrorists and stuff, and it's like, and you have to do their missions as well. It's like, what's this? What's going on? But yeah, that was pretty much it. You're not a hero yet in the game. I think one of the BioWare people said this in an interview that in the first Mass Effect games, the first three, Shepard's already a hero, and his story is about him becoming a legend. And in Andromeda, you're not a hero. You're not supposed to. Okay, he said you're not a hero, but then in your mind, you're thinking, if that's the case, then you're not really supposed to do everyone else's dirty work. You're not really
exactly.
supposed to be there, like solving murders, getting this doctor's medicine who could be potentially lying and evil. Yeah, it's just really bizarre. You just bump into people and then they just want you to do stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, sure. And that's it. And
Yeah, like a Pathfinder's job is basically to find somewhere safe for people to live, right?
yeah.
But like he basically was a specter. Like he could literally just like do whatever he wanted. Like,
Yeah.
and he was solving crimes and all like types of crazy stuff. Like it's really weird. And also like the decision you get to make with the kind of settlements that you want to make, like either military or scientific. I feel like that didn't matter much in the end. Like I thought that was going to be like a big thing where it would kind of change how the game progresses and stuff, but all it did was it changes the protesters, the kind of protesters you get, and yeah, I can't really think of much else that it changed. I don't know if you can.
I don't even
Yeah.
know, like, because eventually you just added points to military anyways. And
Yeah,
so everything's just there was just
the cryo point thing, like you
yeah,
can
yeah.
just
Yeah, I eventually just balanced it out and everything was fine. Like the only thing I got was that protest thing, because I went scientific for that first choice, and then it didn't really mean much. It was just kind of yeah, it was just pointless. You like even thinking about it, my brain's just mush from like, why? What's the point of adding that in and just causing a waste of time, basically?
yeah.
Just a
Yeah,
bit
so
rubbish.
let's get more towards story territory. So firstly, I have to talk about one of the biggest grabs I had in the game. Now, there's two new races, and you know it's interesting. I liked the Angara, to be honest. Like I thought they were quite cool. But you know, the cat we'll get to. But like my main gripe was that you know the races, all the races from the other game weren't included, and I know they explain that, but I saw it as them kind of being lazy. Either that, or they're trying to set up some type of DLC that has like all the other races that we like. Because like I really liked the Quarians and you know all those other strange races from the previous trilogy. Like even the what are they called? The oh man, I can't remember their name now. The Watcher, I think.
There's
Yeah, the
the
Watcher.
Porsche,
The
yeah,
Watcher. They were funny, and the Batarians and the Drell were cool. Like I wanted to see some of these guys as well, but
yeah.
they kind of scaled it down to like you know a few main races, and then they introduced the new two races and stuff. So like, what did you think about that whole thing?
Again, I messaged you about it, and then I said I just realized something. All the other races are extinct because if that was the case, like they made no mention of them until right at the
Yeah,
very end, where it just left it on like a oh look, they could be alive, and here's a DLC that you might have to do later on, and it's like no, you could have just said this halfway through the game if you wanted to, or you know that they are missing and why, rather than make me think they're all dead because all you brang was Asari, Turians, and Solarians and humans. Um, but yeah, no, I agree. It's they were lazy, I think. Like, how can the previous Mass Effect game include all these alien races, and then the new one can be just like, just throw in the ones that can fight, you know? It was weird, and yeah, again, I wanted to see Quarians. I wanted to see the Drell. They mentioned so much about Hannah, but they never appeared at all. Yeah, it was interesting that they just ignored them, and it kind of annoyed me a bit more that right at the end they were just like, "Oh, look, they're there, but they're telling you not to save them." It's like, do you just want them dead or not? Just like, it was just a bizarre thing, and I just remember messaging you guys saying like, they just did not bother putting them in, nor are they even showing up in like any vignettes or, when
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
unlocking Sam's memory of your father in the game, Alec Ryder. They're just completely ignoring all that stuff, and it's just really weird why they just didn't include them in the background even. Just like waving. Like vultures are they're small, funny, but they're like really sly, and they're really they're quite vicious mentally, I guess you could say. And one of them worked for like the shadow broker and stuff, and they knew about money and could be conniving, and they were just like little mini mafia people.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could have so much more stories with them. The Hannah were all about preaching to the choir, and all about religion. And this game played again on the topic of religion and cults and things like that. Hannah's like a prime example of a good use there. Elcors were mentioned as well, but again, no like visual appearance of them, and it was just all about basically saying, oh, they're in a ship but they're lost somewhere and they're telling you not to follow just cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking as well, it would have been so cool because, like, the way they built up the Quarians, like, and obviously, they're prone to diseases and stuff, and which is why they wear their suits. Like, I feel like it would have been cool if there was like a subplot in here where like you can find them a home where like they're not prone to sickness and like they can get out of their suits, kind of thing. Like that would have been.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that as well. Like, I still haven't seen them out of their suit. I don't know what they look like. Like, apparently you do see them in Mass Effect 3, but I don't think I got that option. There was a moment where I did go on the planet, and Tali took off a mask. Is it Tali?
Yeah.
Tali, yeah.
Talazar.
Tali's already there. She took off a mask, but the camera was behind her, and so I never saw their face. I never got to see what they look like and everything, and I still don't. And I've just kind of just kept that mystery to myself because I just want to see it in game. But yeah, again, no mention of the Quarians, and it would be a way to kind of bring peace for them because they have to live in this environmental suit, and finding a planet where they can just be themselves and live and all that stuff, and then having a side mission or a priority mission per se of some crazy Quarian trying to restart the Geth again or something. That would have been a cool inclusion,
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't happen. You just had to find the three main ones, and that took a while to do as well. Especially the Solarians. That was quite rushed in, if anything. The Solarian arc.
Definitely rushed.
And yeah, it was just missing a lot more diverse alien species, which I don't know if people will protest about, but there we go.
No, well, as long as the humans are in there, that's all anyone cares about.
Pretty much.
Okay, yeah, so the story itself, yeah, I mean, like, what's your thoughts on the story, like, overall?
It's the same as Mass Effect 1 and 2, I think. So you have the Ket who are turning Angarans, it seems, to their own kind, and they're answering to a higher power, it seems, but you don't know what that higher power is. And that's pretty much Mass Effect 1 and 2. You had the
Yeah, with
Protheans
the
who
collectors and
were
stuff.
becoming the Collectors, and then the Collectors were answering to the Reapers, who apparently created the galaxy, sort of thing. And every few thousand years, they would destroy a race or just destroy planets and restart. Which is a boring life for them, must be, but they get a kick out of it, I guess. And yeah, it was just kind of similar, and in that sense, it just had to come down really to like the dialogue and the interaction, and I don't think it was as epic as the first three even. It was more
Yeah.
quite you once you got realized the storyline, you're just like, oh, okay, fine. Didn't necessarily feel sorry for any of the characters, didn't necessarily feel any sort of care. It was just like, right, so this is the story again. Okay, I've done this before, so let's just get this over with. You mentioned the Angarans, like they were okay. Yeah. I called them Idris Elbas because
Because of their
they
voice.
their voice sound like Idris Elba. They were just you're right there, Pathfinder. Yeah, just help me out here for a minute. Yeah. It was really weird. They're just British. They're just British guys just chilling out in some icy worlds. But I don't know. It was kind of standard. And once you figured out what their plan was and what they were wanting to do was just take more races and create them ket-like experiments, it was just kind of, oh, okay, fine. And then you don't really find out who they're answering to, and you kind of don't care.
I was thinking they was going to find some way to include the Reapers, like the Reapers command the Ket or something, and that's why it's like that. But no, they just straight up kind of copied the story outline from the first trilogy, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it doesn't even involve Reapers. Probably doesn't, and I hope it doesn't because they were annoying. Well, they weren't annoying. They were actually quite vicious, but I wouldn't.
yeah, I feel like we could move on from it.
Yeah, like 600 years.
Told that story.
600 years after the third one, and the Reapers are still like hanging about. And I guess because you're not supposed to know what happened to, the world that you left behind. So, had the Reapers been in this game, I guess it would kind of ruin the thought that, oh, okay, everyone failed, everyone died, and you're going to die here as well because the Reapers are practically invincible now or something. So I don't think they would be included in this one in going by that. But yeah, there is a high power somewhere and you don't know who they are. The Ket just answer to them. One got a bit big-headed. He's like Saren, basically. And yeah, that's it.
I think I know who the higher power is.
Oh, okay. You have theories.
Electronic Arts.
Oh, the corporate, yeah. so corporate, so political. They're buying out our souls. They're buying out our time, and yeah, politics. The big money makers.
Yeah, one thing that also really annoyed me about the story was the whole twin sibling thing. Like it literally feels like they just included that because that part at the end where like they kind of hack into your SAM or whatever, and like that hurts your guy Ryder. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like that's the only reason they had the sister in there, so that she can fix that. Like because obviously Sam was really hyped up in the game, like he was a big part of your main character and everything. So they kind of needed to tamper with that to get some sort of advantage over Ryder and create some sense of oh, you're in a powerless situation kind of thing. So like I feel like the sibling was literally just there for that, because like I thought initially that the sister, or depending what you play, it's either a sister or brother, but I thought the sibling would be a part of your squad pretty much and be with you throughout the game. but like throughout half the game, pretty much they're asleep in a coma or whatever, in cryo. And even when they wake up, like you have like a little discussion with them here and there, like, and even that's fairly rare. So like it becomes hard to even care that they exist at that point, because like they're just so far removed from whatever's going on. And then at the end they have that little shine kind of thing, and it seems like that's literally the only reason they chose to include it. So what were your thoughts on the whole sibling thing?
Yeah, that was quite funny. You just don't care that they live or die or whatever. It's like, she's dead. Oh, whatever. Yeah, I remember. It was weird. I like that in the editing mode you could have like, because obviously naturally you create something similar to what you look like whenever you have these opportunities to create character, and then you can like, I went with the guy, and I like that you can just leave your twin to being like this white person. So I'm a brown guy, and then you're a black guy, and then you can just have this complete random sister that just looks nothing like you, and then you'd have to try and feel emotion for it and feel sorry for it if you wanted to. But that was quite funny. But obviously, I ended up editing her so that she looked quite similar as much as possible. And yeah, I wanted her to be on the squad. I thought that would have been like a cool thing to have, especially when the game forces you to be introduced to combos and stuff. I think the one thing you would want is your twin to do the combos with you and be like, yeah, Rider twins, effective, and fist bump the air and stuff. But yeah, all I got was basically you got to talk to her while she's in a coma state, and then I just upset her more by telling her that our dad died and the planet was a shambles. The Habitat 7 planet was just a failure, and then she just got stressed out and then passed out even again. And yeah, it just appeared right at the end just to have that brief moment to shine. I also think it's a funny thought that they did the twin system because in EA, you know, in the first 3 Mass Effect games, again, Commander Shepard, the guy, is the big deal.
Guy or girl.
And then when it came to the 3rd game, someone in EA just went, you know, you can be a female in this game, right? And they're like, oh shit, yeah, let's put that in a promo box and everything. Let's just, okay, there. You can be both. You can be both. I swear to God, people. And so they give you the opportunity in this Andromeda one. It's like you can be a man and a woman from the get-go. It doesn't matter who. Just pick one, and we will support you all the way. I just like that idea. Yeah, I thought the twin character thing could have been done a little bit better. I thought she could have woke up at least halfway through the game and kind of complete the missions with you, or you can kind of have like that switcheroo transition sort of moments where you're playing as the male character in one part of the game, and then it switches to the female character and she's like exploring other planets or finding out her missions given and stuff like that.
Yeah, like some GTA type thing. That would have been cool.
Like a GTA thing. The Witcher done it as well. I, for some reason, was about to think about Final Fantasy VIII when you play as Laguna and Squall and stuff like that. But yeah, like transitions like that would have been interesting take on it. They all build their own little armies. Would have been again a greater way to add in the extra alien species. But yeah, it was just kind of pointless again. You just upset her a little bit more, and then she wakes up and she's like, oh, I'm fine. And then she has a brief moment to save you with Sam. So yeah, just kind of standard really. And even at the end of the game, she's like passed out in your bed. Your twin's passed out in the bed, and you talk to her and she's like, oh, just go celebrate, I'll be out in a moment. And that's it. She doesn't even join you after you like saved the world or saved everyone. She's just still being a lazy fart.
That's hilarious. Yeah, like because I'm kind of wishing I actually played as the sister, because it might have been a bit more interesting to have, you know, that different outlook and perspective. But the main reason I chose the guy was obviously because of one of the biggest things that they promote in these games, and probably one of the biggest things that they paid attention to in this game, and that's the romances. So I'm going to get into that now. So
I'm sure you
the
do.
romance options, I felt, well, you know, I already told you I didn't like any of the characters, so yeah, you know, I wasn't really interested. I ended up romancing Vetra in the game, and that was just, you know, just because like I thought it would be funny, like I thought it would be funny to see, kind of thing. So that's why I went with that. But I didn't really like Cora or anyone else. And I liked what's her name? The
PB?
pilot, the female
Oh,
pilot.
Lexi.
But yeah, but she's obviously, you know, she's a lesbian, so you can only romance her as when you're the sister. So yeah, that wasn't an option. And they did have those mini romance things that you can do, like casual relationships. And I was actually quite flirty with that chick on Angara, the museum chick. But like you don't really get much out of it, like just a kiss, like peck on the cheek kind of thing. So yeah, like I feel like the romances in this game weren't that great. I know they put a lot of detail and a lot of effort into the final scenes, like especially for PB and Cora. But yeah, I thought they were just meh personally. What did you think of them?
Yeah, see, I tried to aim for a celibate life. I was like you. I didn't really think much of the characters, and Liam especially was just bugging me. Not that I was gonna go romance with him anyways, because he's just an absolute tool. But I don't know, just the personalities of each of the characters were just really irritating, and I was just like, screw this. I'm just gonna go straight ahead, play the game. Actually, at first, I wanted to romance with Lexi, that character, and then I texted you. I was just saying that's my romance choice, and then you said straight away, "Oh, she's a lesbian," and then that kind of just killed off
Wait,
every.
Lexi, do you mean the doctor or the pilot
The
chick?
pilot, isn't it? The pilot? Is she the pilot?
Uh,
Lexi?
No, Lexi's the doctor, the
Oh,
you know the Asari doctor woman,
what's the
and
pilot's called?
I forget her name. She's got a really weird name, the pilot chick. I'll remember it in a minute.
Let's call her Roseanne. Roseanne. Well, no, the pilot. I was gonna romance her, but then you were like, no, she's a lesbian, and then so I was just like, oh, forget this, never mind, because all the other characters were just randomly hating you at one moment, but then in the
Suvi, that's
same
it. Suvi.
Suvi, there you go, yeah, her. But yeah, I just kind of couldn't be bothered doing it. But then eventually, the characters started like being appreciative a little bit more, if anything. And then so I thought, fine, let's just go standard and boring, and let's go Cora. Because she's like just forcing it onto you, basically. Yeah, I saw like the videos of what happens when you pick every other option and stuff, and it just didn't really seem like you put in so much effort into doing stuff, and you're just like, whatever. Yeah, the focus was mainly on like PB and Cora blatantly, like what they wanted you to go for,
Yeah.
and they went all out. Like when that scene kicked in, my game went 60 frames per second, 1080. Like it was smooth as heck. It was literally how the game throughout should have been. That kicked in, my game just fixed itself, and like it was a movie basically. I just don't even understand. Like they put all their lifetime into those scenes, and it was just fixed, and it just made me laugh. Like that sense, like they went all out with the nudity and like the timing of the scene and getting everything in as much as they can, and it was so smooth and like everything just heightened, and yeah, it was bizarre like watching that.
Yeah, like because I know like the developers on this game was a separate team who made the other games,
Yeah.
But let me just say, like, I feel like that team needs to be hired by Brazos or something, like some porn company, because
Just one of
those
those.
scenes were,
Yeah, they went
yeah.
all out. They like put so much. I'm seriously thinking that's where all the budget went into those scenes, because the game literally played how it should have been for a next gen uh, game, basically. Yeah, they that was like superb. Just the visuals, anyways, which is like superb. Um, but then the game went back to its regular, you know, maybe 60 frames per second, who knows, sort of thing. But yeah, I just remember just making me laugh so much, just how like updated the game just became once that scene kicked in. Yeah, I agree with you though. There wasn't much options. The game kind of forces you to like mainly two people,
Yeah.
and that's it really. And then everything else is just whatever. I know Veteran ones was something like she cooks meat for you or something.
Yeah, she tries to she
Yeah,
basically imports a steak from like the other galaxy or whatever, and she tries to cook it for you, but it's like really burnt and stuff, like because she didn't know how to cook it.
yeah,
And yeah, they just kind of have like a little special, awkward, funny moment kind of thing, and then she directs him towards the bed, and then it fades to black, basically. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Romantic, good stuff. Yeah, like you said, the Mersh, no, not the Mershai, the museum Angaran, she just gives you a peck on the cheek.
Yeah, there were a few casual ones, like the reporter chick on the Nexus, but I never followed those options, so I don't know what happens.
No,
There's another chick as well on the Nexus that you can have a casual relationship with, but I don't know what happens. But I'm guessing it's probably just like a kiss or something, like
yeah,
just yeah.
yeah. The game just wanted you to be with one or two, basically, and then the other ones were like, I think they probably themselves got freaked out of having to try and draw like a Turian in a interesting encounter or something, and with every other character that you try and flirt with outside of the Nexus or outside of your team, they were just like, just
Yeah, it's too
give
much
them a
work for them.
yeah, exactly. It's too much work. We've already spent hours trying to detail Cora. I don't know, just give him a peck on the cheek or something.
For, for PB they for PB they probably just used Cora's body and turned it blue or something.
They used Cora's body, turned it blue, and just went on like a VR experience of their own, and just kind of just went on this mind trip. Or they just probably re-updated Dr. Liara to Sony and
Oh
just
yeah.
kind of rendered her back into PB body and just did what they did there, just a little bit more. But yeah, I don't really think much about it. I tried to live the celibate life, but you can't really in Mass Effect. You just have to kind of try and get whatever achievement you can, and yeah, it just ended up. I just found it funny how the game just ran so much better when that scene kicked in. That was just brilliant.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So yeah, one of the I feel like this side plot was maybe slightly more interesting than the main plot, to be honest, and that's the memories of your father, because there was a lot of links back to the previous games, to the other galaxy and stuff, a lot of references there to catch, and then it all kind of ended on this mysterious figure called the benefactor. And I remember you were kind of, you were texting me about that stuff a lot. So, like, what's your thoughts on those memories and, how it ended with the benefactor and everything like that? Because I never actually unlocked the final memory, but they were quite interesting. So,
Oh,
what are your thoughts on
do you know what happens? Like, do you know what the final
that?
memory was about and stuff?
Yes, yeah, spoil it because I'm not playing it again. So.
Oh. I actually can't remember, to be honest. Oh, you don't find out who the benefactor is, and I thought, yeah, like you said, it was a really interesting storyline outside from the main missions itself. Because you get the final memory, and then it's still locked apparently. and I can't remember what unlocked it, but I think it was your sister waking up. She basically unlocks the final memory because she's also got Sam in her in some random way, I think. And you find out, the benefactor was behind the funding of the Andromeda initiative.
Yes, I saw
But
that one actually. Is that the last one?
it's the one where Alec Ryder's calling Garrus's dad.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Did you
yeah.
not get that
Carry
one?
on.
Oh.
No, I didn't get that one. I don't think I did anyway. But yeah,
Oh,
carry on.
okay. It's basically Alex calling Garrus's dad, and Garrus's dad, Garrus, he mentions that his son um, talked about Shepard, and Shepard alerted the council about the Reapers, and they all think he's crazy. And so then Alec Ryder's talking to the benefactor again, and the screen comes up with different faces of different races of aliens, and it keeps like transitioning between one and the other because you don't know who the benefactor is at the end of it, or he's just hiding it. He or she is hiding their face, and he's just saying, I will join this. And then he calls Gene Garson, who was supposedly the front runner of this whole Andromeda initiative. And they both agree with each other that something's not right. And, the benefactor sounds dodgy. And obviously, if you go further into it, Gene Garson was dead. They say it was from an explosion on the Ark, but it turned out it was a murder. And the murder is supposedly set up by the benefactor themselves. And that was kind of it. In the final thing, you just find out that the Reapers are real, and you don't know what happened to that world basically, and that you are potentially the last survivors of that galaxy, and now you've come to the Milky Way. And yeah, that was kind of it. It just kind of was a sudden stop. You don't really find out much about the benefactor. And as much as you try and find on forums and things like that of who the benefactor is, there's not really much that's given away by the game. So in a sense, that was kind of cool, in my opinion. Like, there's more mystery, and there's like this side confusion story that can kick in later games in life or later DLCs that will come out. The obvious choice everyone keeps saying is the Elusive Man, but to me that doesn't make sense of him being the benefactor, because he was all about humanity only. He didn't really care about any of the other alien species, even though when you not hacking, but when you go in through the Shadow Broker's details, he had like various amount of affairs with alien races. That was just interesting. But that also explains racism in a nutshell, if you think about it.
Yeah, there's so many parallels to real life right there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and so for him to start the initiative and then bring like all these alien races aboard wouldn't make sense to fund. I don't know. I thought
The benefactor is basically like the new Shadow Broker, because remember when we didn't know who the Shadow Broker was, and like it was basically like the same conversation, like trying to figure out who it might be, and like it was real mysterious and stuff. But then we got that DLC and stuff that kind of explained it all.
Well, in Mass Effect 2, Liara T'Soni was the Shadow Broker, wasn't she?
Oh, she was?
Yeah. And then there was a DLC where you do her mission to take down... Oh, no. Wait, no. Sorry. She wasn't the Shadow Broker. She was hunting the Shadow Broker.
Yeah, she was looking for him.
And then eventually she became the Shadow Broker. Right.
Yeah.
So she is eventually the Shadow Broker, but it wouldn't be her funding the project either. So, because obviously then you get that data pad, which is her voice, and she talks about the interest of the initiative, and that she wishes your dad all the best, basically, in the journeys ahead and what discoveries they could potentially find and stuff. But I think it's a cool mystery to have. Oh, you also find out as well that your mum's alive.
Oh yeah,
That,
yeah,
that,
she's in
that was,
cryo.
yeah, she's in the cryo, and that was one of the secrets you find out as well, that she was listed under another name, and she's just there chilling, like half dead, half alive. And yeah, that was it. Yeah, I was just generally thinking it's kind of a cool mystery to have, and it's kind of a nice way for Mass Effect to kind of continue on, basically, where the mystery of the benefactor would be. But if it's a completely new character, you're not really going to care. I think people will kind of be more disappointed. I think people would probably prefer it if the benefactor was like a recurring character that's snuck their way in somehow into the Andromeda Initiative with so much money.
It's Conrad Vernon.
That would annoy me anyways. But you meet his sister in the game. That was quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little nod to Conrad Werner. Yeah, I thought it was a cool storyline to have. But I obviously want to know more about it. Unfortunately, you don't really. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted a little bit for a second. Yeah, you don't really get to know much more else about the murder mystery of Lian Garcin Chen. I forgot her name already. I said it earlier. Garcin, whatever. And yeah, I would like to have known a little bit more or have it solved at least, but no, they're just keeping that a mystery.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you wanted to point out about the story before I get to like my next point of discussion?
No,
like
it's
the
cool.
ending or anything.
Oh, the ending was quite sudden, wasn't it? I mean, you completed it, you know what it was. It was just quite sudden, and there's the extra part of it where if you 100% all the planets, you get this extra mission to do that you have to go back to Habitat 7, and they're saying, oh, there's this receiver coming from there, and you need to go back and meet the planet again. And I was thinking, cool, you get to go back to Habitat 7, and maybe you'll find out the benefactors there contacting you, or you find out that there's this new alien race, or you find the Quarians or the Hanhars and the Elkas and stuff. Generally what happened was you fly all the way to Habitat 7, and then it cuts to a scene with you on the Nexus. No, not Nexus. The Tempest. And you get a radio call in from the council on the Nexus telling you, oh, hey, this planet's now named after you. Yeah. And people are cheering in the background randomly. And it's funny because they go, oh, the planet is now called Rider 1. And then when that segment's over, it still says Habitat 7 on the map. I was like, this just wasted my time. This just wasted so much effort and everything. So yeah, it was kind of stupid. You don't even get to land on the planet. You don't even do anything. You can't do anything. You just appear and they just say, congratulations, this planet that you can't do anything on and that you can't land on and is pretty much destroyed, but we're trying to fix it. It's named after you. Yeah, that was just a really, really lazy ending. It reminded me of Pokemon when the first Red and Blue, you collect all 150 Pokemons and you just get a certificate. It's like, yay. And in some games there was rumored like you get Mew and stuff. You're just like, nah, certificate. Here you go. That's essentially what this game did. It just like patted me on the back and be like, how do you feel having a planet named after you? And you're thinking, well, it's not, because it's still called Habitat 7 right there. It's not even bothered to change it on the map. So yeah, that was it really. Not much else to it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the story in a nutshell. Definitely not a big fan of it personally, but yeah, it had a lot of potential. And I'm guessing that we both didn't spend a lot of time in multiplayer because, yeah, that was just kind of whatever.
I didn't even touch multiplayer at all. I don't even know how it works. Is it just basically your character going through strike team missions?
Well, you use like preset characters and stuff,
Ah,
like of different races and stuff like that. Like you know those strike missions and stuff. You can do those as multiplayer missions and stuff.
yeah. I never touched multiplayer at all. I mean, we could try it at some point.
You're not missing anything. You're not
there
missing
we go.
anything. It was basically like Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, but worse. Like because I actually think Mass Effect 3's multiplayer was kind of fun, but like this one was just the same thing, but not fun, kind of. So
I didn't even play Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I just render multiplayer useless in Mass Effect. I don't. I think it's kind of a forced thing, if anything. So, but
yeah, it really was.
there you go. But yeah, no, I never tried it. I'm assuming it's like horde modes, basically. But yeah, never got around to it.
Cool, yeah. So, like in a nutshell, overall, how does this Mass Effect compare to the last three games? Like, and do you feel like it has any potential to carry on from Andromeda?
I think definitely it will carry on from Andromeda. It's a new world and it's a new type of galaxies, and the ending did leave some things to carry on from, like the missing Quarians, but the message of them saying, "Oh, don't come looking for us. There's something out there that's holding them back, or they're dead, or things like that." So there's a lot of things they can actually go off from, again, with the benefactor as well. The mystery about that. With regards to how it compares to the other Mass Effects, a little bit lazy, but
Yeah.
decent enough, I think. Again, it's lazy because they just did not care to add in any of the other alien races, and for the new alien races, they just added 2 in.
Yeah.
And
the side missions were just all filler as well.
Yeah,
filler
the side
missions.
missions overtook everything, and again were just fillers. And you think about it, like they're flying to another Milky Way, another galaxy cluster thing, the Helios cluster and stuff like that, and you can only muster up 2 new alien species. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, you can't even bring back like another old one. The what are they called? The ones that they went to war with the Krogan.
Rachni.
Rachni. You couldn't even bring them back. What if they were still alive and stuff? Even though they kind of were, but what if there was more of them in this cluster and stuff? I don't know. It just seems a little bit more lazy than the previous Mass Effects, because you look at that Mass Effect and you just think the vast world explorations that they've added in, and the determination to try and make this franchise like a gaming Star Wars entity world sort of thing. You want to be hopeful that they would include various different stories for different aliens, and letting your character finally be an alien race. That still didn't happen. You still had to be a human. Yeah, I think it's a little bit more lazier than the previous Mass Effect attempts, but considering it seems like it's a different team, it's not bad, I guess. It's not a bad attempt for them, but so much more could be done, I think.
I would be okay with them completely scrapping it and making it non-canon and just like moving on. But the good thing is they really left it open to where they can return to the Milky Way galaxy and like kind of not not exactly continue right off from Shepard, but like maybe, you know, in the distant future, you know, they can pick it back up and kind of fill in the gaps of what's happened and create something new from there.
Would
Because the thing is, like, with the first trilogy, they've made such like an amazing universe. There's a lot of depth there, and I feel like they can tell a lot of different stories. It doesn't have to just focus on, you know, Shepard. It can have references to what happened with Shepard, but I don't feel like Shepard needs to be the focus again. But I do hope that they kind of go back to that. What was you gonna say just now?
but I was gonna say first, like, would you argue if you could be Shepard again?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I feel like I think it would be better to go a different direction because it it was so controversial the way Mass Effect 3 ended and stuff. I think it's better to just kind of leave it alone and leave it open to interpretation and just
Yeah.
kind of like move on from it. Because like the thing is with the first trilogy, like there was so many interesting stories, like even the side stuff, which is why that trilogy was so much better than Andromeda. Like even the side missions were they had interesting stories that could be, you know, explored in a game all by itself kind of thing. So I feel like there's so many like good stories they can tell. This could really be like Star Wars where there's like so many different, you know, plot points to explore. So I feel like it doesn't have to focus on Shepard again. Like they can move
Yeah.
on from it kind of
No,
thing
I agree with
and
that.
still create something interesting.
I think like a cool Mass Effect idea game would be to go back to that cluster and to kind of focus the after effects of it. Because I mean, I look back on like the ending of 3, and you know, I read in like message boards and theories about what the right ending was. And apparently it's the ending that you just kill the Reapers, you just shoot it all up, and you know, Shepard sacrifices himself to save the galaxy, to save every alien species in the world, and thus becoming the legend that he is. But then when you choose that ending and you see after the credits and after all that, Shepard's potentially still alive, he has like one last gasp breathing moment, and then it cuts off to a black screen. So I think and I assume BioWare want you to think he's still alive, so that one Mass Effect game could be you return to that cluster and you are a different character, but your sole mission purpose is to find Shepard because there's rumors lingering about that he's still alive, and you don't know what he's doing, if he's in hiding. It's one of those kind of typical thriller spy type of movies where he's in hiding, he just doesn't want to be shown to humanity because he's done his part. And if he's known that he's still alive, like people will rely on him too much, and he just doesn't want to carry the weight of the shoulder again. Kind of the moody, gripping story you have there. And you know, as you said, like there's a whole load of stories that developed characters you don't get to be, but they gave off so much of a presence that you could be them in these Mass Effect games, like Thane's son. He's like something. Thane was the cool Drell who has sickle cell. The assassin with sickle cell, and essentially is what it is. I guess that's what you told me, anyways.
Yeah, the symptoms are basically like sickle cell.
Pretty much, yeah. And he was cool, and his son, you know, there was like a nice little nod to Thane and the son when you play the DLC, and you know, he's training to be like an assassin as well. He's got some skills. Like you could play as him, or you know, trying out different alien races, or again, be another humanity thing, even be Cerberus, something bad, evil along the way. Like from those games, there's so much you can go off from, and with Andromeda, it's just you, the Pathfinder, which is fair enough because, as I said earlier, you're kind of like just a hero or becoming a hero rather than a legend. But the stories weren't that interesting. There wasn't any memorable character you cared about, and the only
Even Ryder annoyed me in that game. Like he was like just a
yeah,
total dick himself. Like
yeah, there wasn't a lot of great choices you can make. Like I had to just be Saki all the time in that, which is fine, but when you do it too much, it's just kind of boring. And then Liam's there. I hate Liam. He's just he was the worst. He was the absolute worst. Hate him.
what if it's revealed, like, as you mentioned, the weird Shepard might be alive and his heartbeat and stuff, the Superman ending and stuff. What if it's revealed that the cat found him and then they brought him to Andromeda, and like there's a scene where Shepard wakes up and he's like, "Oh, not this shit again." Like, and
That'd be
maybe that's
annoying.
what happened.
I think I piss off a lot of people, if honest. But just wakes up with a bunch of cats. And he's like, "Ah, dang, not this. God damn it, not this again." No. Let's not give him to the cat. I think it's like a nice take that, you know, they want to step away from that a little bit, but they kind of give you the suspense of, you know, you don't know if they're still alive or dead.
Yeah.
Like again, you read the encrypted memories and stuff, and the last thing you know is that Earth is under attack, and in the UK they're bombing it all, and that was it. Then you got cut off, and then you're left thinking, "Oh crap, you're the only living survivor. You're the only survivors basically from that world, and that world may not even exist anymore because of the Reapers." So it just leaves it at that. It doesn't want to like carry on saying, "Oh, what did you choose for Shepard's ending?" and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's more they can do with Andromeda. But if it's just a one-off thing and then they just continue it with DLCs, that'll be cool. I wouldn't want a second Mass Effect game to follow through being the Pathfinder again. Maybe allow you to say, you know, what choice did you make and stuff, but leave it at that. I wouldn't want to play as the Pathfinder again, I don't think.
Yeah, I kind of, the reason I don't want them to follow one from Andromeda is because to me it's already broken, because I mean there's no Quarian, there's none of the races we talked about. So I would rather them just go back to the Milky Way and, you know, just bring it forward a few years, like 100 years maybe even, and, you know, just create new stories from there. And then, you know, like I said, fill in the gaps of what happened with Shepard and after the Reapers and stuff like that. So that's ideally what I want them to do next. But EA did reveal that they're kind of taking a break from Mass Effect because of the reception and stuff.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
yeah, so we might not get another Mass Effect game for a while, but ultimately I feel like that might be a good thing, because it means they're not gonna milk it. Because if this game did really well, they'd probably just continue to milk it and make bad games. Whereas they like with Andromeda, they saw the reception and they know a lot of people and a lot of Mass Effect fans aren't happy. So maybe it's a case where they'll come back to it again when they really want to put the time and effort into it, and when the original team are available to work on it. So maybe that's, you know, what they'll do at some point. Because right now they're really focused on Star Wars as well. So
yeah, that's true. Actually, Star Wars is like back in their foray now, isn't it?
yeah.
I think I get the weird feeling that there's going to be like a Command and Conquer style Mass Effect game coming out. Like,
Oh god.
I don't know why. I just because they can. I don't know how it works with like EA being the publishers and the owners of BioWare, and I don't know how overreactive we can get regards to how corporate and money making machines they can get and stuff and things like that. But I just get the weird feeling that they see Mass Effect as their Halo, they see Mass Effect as their Assassin's Creed and things like that, and therefore they can just milk the hell out of it, knowing that they have the fan base, potential fan base. I don't know how upset they made people with Andromeda and how much they've lost with fans and stuff, but I just get the feeling they'll do like a Command and Conquer Mass Effect style, and it focuses on the Rachni War, and you got like the Krogan rebellions as well, and they'll just play out all those stories basically, and yeah, that just some way to kind of make money as much as they can and just milk it all until there's nothing else they can do with Mass Effect, and then take BioWare to the death pit and shoot their heads and join the rest, like Maxis and all them companies that they bought, Criterion and Maxis and all them.
Yeah, that does make sense conceptually to do something like that. But like me personally, I feel like after coming off of Andromeda, I don't think it's a good idea for them to do that, because you already had like a badly received game.
Yeah,
I feel like if Andromeda was great and it truly like advanced the like Mass Effect name, the Mass Effect brand, to where everybody loves it again and stuff, then yeah, maybe they could do a lot of spin-off stuff as well. But I feel like that would be a bad idea for them to do now. But knowing EA, they probably still will do it, because they have a habit of making bad decisions sometimes. So
sometimes, but
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think a break, I guess, would be okay, even though it took quite a few years for Andromeda to come out. But
they're still going to bring out the DLC though, so I guess that's something.
I will be fine with DLCs for the Andromeda game, and then if they do make a new Mass Effect game, just don't continue on from Andromeda. Just kind of do like a new story, be it with the Helios cluster still, but not being the Pathfinder, or being back to the Milky Way with Shepard, and just a few hundred years afterwards seeing the effects of what happened and stuff. That would be cool. Or my storyline where Shepard's still alive and he's on the run because he doesn't want to deal with you all anymore. Something like that.
It's like, screw these people.
Yeah, he's just got like a really big beard, and he's not had a haircut or showered for years, and he's just on the run. There's like really dodgy CCTV photos of him scouring around the galaxy, the Citadel. Garrus, he becomes the Archangel again and dies immediately, because that's what he does. Just all these things.
Okay, so yes, we got to touch on this since I got you here. So like, what is your gripe with Garrus? Because I know you really hate that character.
I do not like him.
A lot of people love him.
I don't understand why. Like, okay. Every time I listen to you guys talk about Mass Effect, or I read an article about Mass Effect, and it somehow relates to Garrus, you all praise him, and you all think he's like the best character aside from Shepard and stuff. And I just don't get why. I don't understand. Like, he's not good. He really isn't. Like, you say he's loyal, fair enough, but he kind of isn't at the same time. Like, all his missions have been about him wanting to kill someone, and you always have to convince him, unless you're a renegade, you always have to convince him not to kill that someone, to let go of the past and enjoy what's ahead of you right now, and that you're surrounded by good family and everything. The first game, same thing happened. That was pretty much it. You find like this doctor who kidnapped a few people, and he just wanted to kill him, and you kill him by accident, but ultimately it didn't resolve anything. Like, Garrus felt guilt after killing him, and you're thinking, oh, okay, fine, he understood that, he shouldn't have, kind of held on to the past. The second game, he does the exact same thing. He like wants to kill this guy because he set a plan for him, his team that got killed during some war. And you say the same thing to him again. It's like, just let go of the past. This guy's like a bum now. Like, he just doesn't care. Like, why do you want to kill him so much? And then Garrus is there going, why'd you hold me back? Why didn't you let me kill him? And you're like, because you're a cop, you idiot. Why are you a cop and all you want to do is kill people?
He wasn't a cop anymore.
But he was a cop. But the thing was, he's a cop. Like, he wanted.
But didn't he leave to be he left C-Sec to be the Archangel, or whatever, to be
Archangel.
A mercenary.
That thing annoyed me as well. I'm sorry, the Archangel bit. like trying to be cool with a sniper gun, shooting down all these gang members and stuff. And when you needed his help the most, nope, he gets gunned down by an Apache, and he can't do shit for you anyways. So he was useless, being the Archangel. Um, and again, it was the same thing. He wanted a guy dead, and in the third game, he wanted another guy dead. And it was like, how many people do you want dead and not realize just to move on from the past? Like, why can't you just leave this alone? And again, you say the same thing to him. Oh, forget the past. You know, you're a good guy. You're with the good family team members, and he's still like moody and angry at you. And it's just like, I tried with you, Garrus. I really tried. Again, like he's always the first to die for me every time I put him into a squad, and he's supposed to be a sniper. So you think he's far back, he can find good hiding spots, he will gun down the right people for you. No, he's the first person to die. Always. No matter how much you like build him up, he's the first to die. He's useless. I just really don't find him any use. I don't think he's that loyal if all he's ever going to do is go behind your back and try and find people from the past to kill and waste your time not focusing on the main mission, which is to, you know, save the whole galaxy that's dying from Reapers. No, you just want to deal with this one guy that you can't forget about from the past because you lived and others died through your own mistake, if that was the thing. What else? Though, yeah, the last ever bit you have with him is my main gripe.
The shot.
The shot. That peed me off so much. Like, you have a shooting range challenge with him, and he's like talking and talking, and you have that decision to make where you can take the shot, or, you know, you can deliberately miss. And for some reason, I gave him the benefit to just deliberately miss, because I was just like, you know what, I gave you a hard time, Garrus. I'm annoyed at you. You're rubbish, but this is the last game. I just want it to be over with. I will let you have the shot. And I let him have the shot. And do you think he would be gracious? Do you think he would be humble? No.
No. He brags.
He brags the shit out of it and insults you. Starts claiming himself to be the best shooter of the galaxy. Oh, look out, Shepard. I'm number one. Blah, blah. And it's like, I hate you. I hate you, man. Like, I let you have that shot. I could have just shot it and rubbed it in your face and let it be. But no, I let you have the shot and you just rub it in my face. So, yeah. No. He's got an attitude problem. Yeah, I just don't like him. I just don't think he's cool. He's good at calibrating things, but
I was going to say that's all he does is calibrations.
That's all he can do. He's really, really good at calibrating stuff. But that's about it, really. I just did not like him in my team. I tried to make him like the best teammate as well. Like, he was the only character I would like manually, you know, update their skill set with and stuff. And I made him literally like the best sniper, you know, gave him like the highest shields, gave him like the best armor and everything. And still, he would be like the first one to die because he just never got in range properly. He wasn't a good sniper at all. He'd be out in the open and he would just die straight away. And I'd have to run over to him, heal him, run back to my position, and he would die immediately after that as well. So, I don't know. There's just something about him I just do not like at all, and I just don't get why people think he's the coolest thing ever. Maybe it's because he's Turian. Fair enough. Turians are pretty cool, but he's such a weak member and just wastes my time. I don't like that, Gary. I don't.
Fair enough. This might be a conversation we have to revisit when we got more people on.
Look, if you want the coolest character, it was Dr. Liara T'Soni. By far. If you want loyal... Yeah, Tali was cool. But in regards to loyalty, in regards to someone who cared about you, and regards to like pure strength and ability, like she was a badass biotic. And the ending that she did in Mass Effect 3 when she plays that video for you and just stands by you and everything, she was clearly by far the best character there. So I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, if you think Garrus is cool, nah, it's Dr. Liara. That's
Oh,
that.
fair enough. But yeah, that's all the discussion points I had. So, is there like any final thoughts or final things you want to say about Mass Effect Andromeda or Mass Effect in, you know, in its entirety?
um, Not really. I was gonna bring up the relationship characters, missions, and stuff like that, but yeah, because obviously, again, nothing really happened from them, and just talk about more of, like, the laziness a little bit of BioWare, but I think we got the point basically from that. Nothing more. Nothing more.
All right, fair enough. We definitely got to have you back on in the future to talk about, because what I want to do also is like have a reflection on the old games, which
Yeah,
it may require us to maybe replay them a little bit. I don't know, but like yeah, I want to definitely talk about the trilogy because that's definitely like those are some of the best games ever in my opinion. And we
yeah,
also got some other things to talk about, like Walking Dead, because we're gonna do a show on that as well, season 3. But
cool.
for now, thanks for joining us today,
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me on.
I hope all you people listening, I hope you enjoyed the show. Definitely let us know your thoughts on Mass Effect Andromeda, and yeah, shouts to all the Patreon supporters. You will be getting the show first. So yeah, thanks for your support, everyone, and thank you, Rameez, for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Peace out.